Hello everyone, this is Beastly Eel here, and in today's video we're going to be doing a character spotlight, a DC character spotlight, on Swamp Thing. So Swamp Thing is been just announced that there's going to be another movie coming out, specifically from James Gunn's DC universe, and it's going to be, I can't say it's going to be a standalone movie because that would be incorrect, but it's going to be part of their new branching out specifically in their first phase, which is called Gods and Monsters. So, one great way of getting ourselves ready for this is to learn more about what Swamp Thing is. So, one of the big things with Swamp Thing was he was created originally in the 1970s, specifically in 1971. It was depicted as a humanoid slash plant element creature, and it was more of a horror based comic. So it was very much based in dark times where Swamp Thing was supposed to be the monster that destroyed anybody who got close. As time progressed and things moved on, there were different renditions of Swamp Thing. In fact, multiple humanoids and multiple stories of Swamp Thing have come to pass throughout the years. There's been times where he's been the villain. There's been times he was just a human who turned into the Swamp Thing. Others, he was just a monster to begin with and just try to destroy everything. But many different things happen. Some of the biggest or the best stories there were obviously Swamp Thing as the monster in its very first rendition. Um, Apparently, in the mid '80s, there was a highly acclaimed run done with Swamp Thing's character, but also Swamp Thing has made a staple of himself, especially being a part of the Justice League Dark team of magical superheroes, him being one of them. There have been many names or many characters that have taken the helm of Swamp Thing. So there was Alexander Olsen, aka Olsen. There's been Alec Holden, Albert Hollener, Taffy Holland, Alan Hillman, Aaron Haley, um, Calibrith Rogers. I'm probably pronouncing that name wrong. John Haraldson, and Levy Camille. All these different names have become Swamp Thing from one or another time. One of the biggest names, or the most known, is Alec Holden. That storyline, which has really been the big one that has pushed a lot of like the Justice League Dark ones, it was Alec Holden was an idyllic, idea, sorry, was a scientist who was synthesizing a top secret chemical in his hidden lab in the marshlands. But a bomb went off in his lab, and unfortunately, everyone thought he had died. But apparently, what happened was the Swamp Thing took his place. It was a creature made of complete vegetation that absorbed Alec Holden's memory, personality, and grief. Now, Swamp Thing can control everything that is plant life on the planet, from the fungus to the forest of towering oaks. Superhumanly strong and grotesque, he can grow himself a full array of titanic bodies from even the tiniest sprout of green, a living embodiment of power and terror in our environment. The Swamp Thing protects both humanity and the environment, usually from each other. And that's a quote directly from DC's website about Swamp Thing, but that's the most notable version of him. Um, like I said, there's been many renditions of him where he's come to be. He's been also been a part of the Brightest Day, where he was actually under the control of the villain Nakran, who was later had to have been helped by well, he had to be helped by the White Lanterns, including those that were Hawkeye, Hawkgirl, I'm sorry, Hawkman, Hawkgirl, Firestorm, um, Martian Manhunter, Aquaman, and Deadman to slow down the rampage of the new Swamp Thing. Um, and they had to stop him that way. Like I said, there were many renditions. That was one of them. Many of which have been with the Justice League Dark, which has been teamed up with Constantine, Batman, um, what was the demon? Ego. I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong, and it's gonna be awful. But it's the medieval man who turns into the demon, and for the life of me, I can't think of his name. It begins with an E, and then also Zatanna, and many others have taken place on the team as well. he's had to deal with a lot of things overall. But one of the biggest things has been his powers that really do not get talked about all that much, or don't get talked about enough. He is a elemental entity. He's the avatar of the green, which is a the green itself is the plane of existence for the hive mind of the life force of all plant life on Earth. So Swamp Thing can inhabit and animate vegetable matter anywhere, including alien plants, even sentinel ones, and constructing it into his body for himself, making it into weapons. He can turn his body into as hard as tree bark to break things, make sharp objects from them, and cause damage. But because of this, bodily attacks mean very little to him. He's able to regrow damaged and severed body parts with ease and can even transport himself across the globe by just leaving his current form and transferring his consciousness into a new formed grown body made from whatever vegetable matter is present in the location that he wishes to reach. He even grew himself a form out of John Constantine's tobacco supply on one occasion. Swamp Thing is normally a human sized or slightly larger than average, but he can grow bodies much larger, and he's also been able to grow a body the size of an office block. He possesses superhuman strength, although it's unclear to the full parameters of how strong he is. Um, he's actually been able to he's been teamed up obviously with many others like I've talked about, John Constantine, Zatanna, and Deadman. Deadman is literally a ghost, which I always find funny. But his powers alone make him a true powerhouse of the team. So he's able to demonstrate significant strength by ripping large trees out of the ground with ease and trading blows with the demon, Etrigan. Etrigan was his name. I knew I would come with it eventually. Etrigan the demon, who has also teamed up with the Justice League as well. He's also can control any plant life and make it bend to his will and accelerate its growth, which allows it to actually attack others with ease. So he can make grass turn into incredible vines to hold somebody down. Apparently, Swamp Thing has also mastered the elements of fire, earth, water, and air. Each were later killed by the Word, implying that he retained these abilities and has the power once held by them, but that has never been explained exactly how. Um, even though he controls life, he has no power over the White Lantern power ring. But he can control all forms of plant life and even grow every kind, even if it's unknown to him, which is always interesting. And he can actually grow from any plant life anywhere, dead or alive, which is interesting. So even if plants are all destroyed and everything else, he can still put himself back together, which I always find very interesting. So the big reason why I wanted to really touch base about this particular character is he's been around for a while. He had a little TV show in 2019 that was canceled after DC pretty much shut everything down and is starting brand new. But there was an announcement, obviously, with the first phase of the DCEU, specifically the entertainment universe, which is going to be a new wave of superhero movies that are supposed to be coming together and creating their own universe. Um, James Gunn is going to be the one that supersedes it and oversees it and everything else, and partially writes some of the stuff. So that'll be interesting. And one of the ones that was announced was Swamp Thing, and it sounds to be a movie. So it'll be interesting to see how they interpret it. Are they going to make him a monster? It's supposed to be a horror film. It's been unclear 100% if it's going to be a full-fledged horror film or not. We're going to have to wait and see, but definitely looking forward to it. So, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you excited about this character? Are you not? I'm just curious in general because there's been so many renditions of this character. I'm curious at what they're going to show in this new movie. Is it going to be something we've already seen, something new, homage to it all, combining it all together into one little package? It'd be interesting to see. Overall, very much looking forward to it and the new steps that DC is taking. But if you like the content you see and you want to see more, make sure you click on the eel in the corner right over here, and you'll be able to find out every time I post something new. Maybe it'll be something you like, maybe it won't. But there's only one way to find out by clicking the eel. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night.